All right, so we're diving deep today, folks, into the world of the Nazca mummies of Peru.
And I think, well, we've got some really interesting sources for this one.
Yeah, it's kind of a grab bag this time.
Yeah.
We're looking at some scientific reports about these mummies, and
Right.
we've got this YouTube video from a paranormal podcast. They interview a guy named Erick Urdapilleta.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of him?
I have not. No.
So he's a former nursing student and has some pretty wild stories
Oh, interesting.
about his time in a psychiatric hospital and with the Mexican Red Cross.
It's quite the mix, blending those personal accounts with what could be huge archaeological discoveries.
It is.
Yeah.
And his experiences kind of set the scene for this whole mystery
Right.
surrounding the Nazca mummies.
Yeah.
And things get, well, pretty strange.
I'd imagine.
Unexplained injuries, bizarre medical anomalies, even whispers of a government cover-up.
Wow.
But first, let's dive into Urdapilleta's world, because he worked in some intense environments, and his stories definitely send chills down your spine.
I bet, especially in those fields,
Yeah.
they're constantly exposed to human suffering, the fragility of life, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be surprising if that had an impact on him,
Hmm.
maybe even heightened his sensitivity to the things that can't be easily explained.
That's a great point, yeah.
Yeah.
So this first story, it takes place in a psychiatric hospital
Okay.
in Mexico, and Urdapilleta says there was this young patient
Mm-hmm.
who was repeatedly attacked by, well, something.
Oh, wow.
No one could ever figure out what was happening.
Mm.
And the injuries, they got progressively worse over time.
Oh.
Like at first it was just bruises, but then it escalated.
Oh, geez.
Bite marks, deep cuts, broken fingers, missing fingernails.
That's pretty disturbing.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty disturbing stuff.
Yeah, and the fact that they escalated,
Yeah,
there seems to be a pattern to it that makes it even more unsettling.
exactly. And the patient was just insistent that he was being attacked by some kind of large entity.
Okay.
But then there's this whole incident where a nurse faints
Look,
after seeing the patient with his eyes missing.
his eyes missing.
And then just like that, they reappear in a cup.
No way.
I mean, come on, that's the kind of stuff that keeps you up at night.
It really makes you wonder what's possible.
Yeah.
And he also mentions having recurring fevers
Mm.
after these paranormal encounters.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's like a physical manifestation of the emotional and psychological toll
Wow.
these events had on him.
It's definitely possible, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the psychiatric hospital, Urdapilleta ends up working with the Red Cross.
Okay.
And wouldn't you know it, more strange things start happening.
Of course.
He tells this story about responding to a family car accident
Okay.
and being led there by a ghostly hitchhiker.
What?
And the hitchhiker claims that his family is still trapped.
Oh,
But when they arrive,
they find the hitchhiker dead at the scene.
yeah, you got it.
Oh, wow.
It turns out he was one of the victims.
That's incredible.
And a year later, Urdapilleta even runs into the victim's cousin, who thanks him for trying to help his family.
That's like straight out of the Twilight Zone.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a total Twilight Zone experience.
Those sorts of stories really make you think about, time and perception.
Right?
It's as if he encountered like a lingering echo of the hitchhiker.
Yeah.
Maybe a trace of consciousness left behind
Yes.
after death. Yeah.
That's a fascinating way to think about it.
Yeah.
Now, there is one more story about a cursive family and a little girl who died under mysterious circumstances that we could talk about.
Okay.
But maybe.
Yeah. Perhaps we should move on to the Nazca mummies.
Yeah.
After all, they are the, kind of the heart of our deep dive today. And,
Yeah.
and they tie in with Urdapilleta's theories
Right.
in some unexpected ways.
They do. All right, so the Nazca mummies themselves,
Right.
They were actually discovered by grave robbers,
Oh, wow.
huaqueros,
Okay.
they're called. And they operate in this kind of like underground network, often selling their finds to private collectors.
It's a complex issue.
Yeah.
They're often seen as criminals,
Right.
but they also play a significant role
Yeah.
in bringing these artifacts to light.
Yeah.
So in the case of the Nazca mummies, their involvement has been crucial,
Yeah.
but controversial.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's where Thierry Jamin kind of enters the picture.
Okay.
He's a researcher who became fascinated by these mummies
Uh-huh.
and really dedicated himself to studying them. trying to separate fact from fiction.
Yeah.
But the whole story of how they were discovered is pretty wild.
I bet.
Apparently, 2 huaqueros were exploring an underground chamber, like typical Indiana Jones stuff,
Yeah.
when they stumbled upon a sarcophagus. But that's not all. They also claim to have seen
What?
a tall, humanoid figure with glowing blue eyes
Glowing blue eyes.
in another hidden chamber.
That detail about the blue eyes is really interesting.
Yeah.
It echoes a lot of ancient myths
Right.
and legends, right?
Right.
About supernatural beings and otherworldly encounters. So it makes you wonder if these stories passed down through generations might have a kernel of truth to them.
It's definitely food for thought.
Yeah.
Now, to make things even more complicated, there's this guy named Paul Ronceros, who he used the alias Crowix99999 online, and somehow got his hands on several mummies from the Huaqueros. And at first, it seemed like he was just trying to make a quick buck off of them.
Oh, really?
Which, not exactly the most ethical approach.
No, not really. Ronceros's involvement early on definitely fueled that skepticism. It cast a shadow of doubt on their authenticity.
Right.
And it made it even harder for serious researchers like Jamin to be taken seriously.
Yeah, it's like a battle between, those who see these mummies as a ticket to fame and fortune.
Right.
And then those who genuinely want to understand their significance.
Absolutely.
And of course, this all gets blown up even further.
Yeah.
When Shimimo-san, the big UFO researcher, steps in and declares the mummies to be genuine.
Oh, wow.
He even challenged skeptics to eat a cockroach.
What?
If they were proven wrong. Talk about dramatic.
Ma-san's involvement definitely amplified that media frenzy and his pronouncements. While they're attention grabbing, they might have hindered a more nuanced investigation.
Probably. Yeah, it's a shame because despite all the drama and the dubious characters, the mummies were actually analyzed by some very reputable scientific institutions.
Really?
I'm talking places like Biotech Mol in Mexico.
Okay.
The Institute of Genomic Medicine of Mexico. Genentech. Lakehead University in Canada.
Wow.
Caracobo of the IPB in France.
Okay.
The Federal University of St. Petersburg. And the Medical Generic Institute of Genes in Russia.
That's quite the list.
It is. It's a pretty impressive list.
Yeah, sending samples to such a diverse range of institutions was crucial. It allowed for independent analysis and minimized the risk of bias or manipulation.
Exactly.
Which was really important given all the controversy surrounding them.
So are you ready to hear about what they found?
I am, yeah.
Because things get really interesting here.
Okay.
Let's start with Maria, the most famous of the Nazca mummies.
Okay.
She's small, only about 168 centimeters tall.
Okay.
But the first thing you notice is her elongated skull.
Elongated skull.
And this wasn't artificially deformed like in some ancient cultures.
Nope.
It's just how her skull was shaped.
So the elongated skull, it raises questions right away about Maria's genetic lineage.
Right.
Could she be a representative of a hominid branch we were previously unaware of, or perhaps a hybrid species, the result of interbreeding between ancient humans and something else.
Yeah, these are questions that scientists are still grappling with.
Yeah, exactly.
And get this.
Okay.
Maria's cranial capacity, that's the space inside her skull, is 19% larger than a typical human's.
Wow, that's huge.
That's huge.
What could that mean?
I know.
In terms of her cognitive abilities, it's a tantalizing clue.
Yeah.
Some researchers speculate that larger cranial capacity could indicate a higher level of intelligence, perhaps even a form of consciousness.
Wow.
That we don't fully understand.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And then there's the fact that she only has 3 fingers and toes.
3 fingers and toes.
On each hand and foot.
Wow.
And this wasn't due to amputation or any kind of injury. She was born that way.
So it's a natural part of her anatomy.
It's a natural part of her anatomy.
The 3-fingered aspect is one of the most baffling features of the Nazca mummies.
Right.
It challenges our understanding of evolutionary biology.
Yeah.
And it raises the possibility that human evolution might be far more complex and diverse we ever imagined.
It makes you wonder what other variations might be out there.
Exactly.
Hidden in the fossil record?
Yeah, or perhaps even still living,
right.
in remote corners of the world.
Yeah, it's like opening a door to a whole new realm of possibilities.
It really is.
And that's just the beginning. Maria also lacked hair.
Okay.
A coccyx, the tailbone.
Right.
And she didn't have kidneys or genitalia, but she did have mammary glands and a female pelvis.
Okay.
So it seems clear that she was female.
So the missing coccyx is another anomaly that sets her apart, from known human anatomy.
Right.
It suggests a skeletal structure that's fundamentally different, from ours.
Right.
Further blurring the lines between what we consider human.
Right.
And what might lie beyond our current understanding.
Okay, hold on tight, because here comes the real bombshell.
Okay.
The genetic analysis of Maria's remains showed only 30.8% similarity to human DNA.
Wow, that's shocking.
It's shocking, to say the least.
That genetic discrepancy is perhaps the most compelling evidence that Maria represents something truly unique, something that challenges the very definition of what it means to be human.
Yeah.
It suggests that she might not even be a hominid at all,
right,
but rather a representative in an entirely different branch of life.
Wow.
On Earth.
It's like discovering a whole new species right here on our own planet.
It really is.
And then there's Wawita.
Wawita.
A baby mummy with similar features to Maria.
Okay.
Except in Wawita's case, it looks like her fingers might have been amputated.
Amputated.
To resemble Maria's.
So could this be evidence of some kind of ancient ritual?
Right.
Maybe an attempt to mimic these beings.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
The case of Wawita is fascinating. The possibility of intentional modification.
Right.
To resemble Maria raises all sorts of questions about the relationship between these beings and the ancient cultures that may have encountered them.
Right.
Was it a form of reverence, a way to honor these beings, or perhaps something more complex?
Right.
We can only speculate.
Okay, we can't forget about Josephina.
Okay.
Now, this mummy is where things take a really strange turn. Imagine like a reptile-like being.
Okay.
Only 60 centimeters tall.
Okay.
With scaly skin, no hair, no earlobes, and no nasal septum.
Wow.
But here's the kicker. All of her internal organs were present.
Internal organs were present.
Unlike Maria.
So Josephina's reptilian features introduce a whole new layer of complexity to the Nazca mummy mystery, right?
Right.
Her existence challenges our understanding of the diversity of life, both past and present,
Yeah.
And the fact that she had internal organs, in contrast to Maria, suggests a fundamentally different biological makeup.
It's like we're dealing with two completely separate species.
It seems that way.
Both equally baffling.
Yeah.
And to add to the strangeness, Josephina was also missing a radius, ulna, and fibula in her limbs. And you guessed it, she also had those 3 fingers and toes.
Of course.
But the most shocking discovery of all.
What's that?
Josephina had 3 eggs inside her body.
3 eggs.
One containing a developing embryo.
The eggs inside Josephina raise profound questions about her reproductive system.
Right.
A system unlike anything we've seen before.
Right.
It suggests a life cycle that deviates significantly from any known species on Earth.
It's enough to make your head spin.
I bet.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
All of those prestigious institutions, all those scientists from all over the world, they all agreed. The Nazca mummies are authentic.
They're authentic?
They are real biological organisms, unlike anything we've ever encountered before.
That scientific consensus is crucial.
Yeah.
It elevates the discussion from speculation and conspiracy theories to a legitimate scientific mystery.
Right.
And it demands that we approach these findings with an open mind, acknowledging the possibility that we might be facing something truly revolutionary.
It's a game changer. It forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about the history of life on Earth.
Exactly. And that brings us to the question that's been lingering in the back of our minds throughout this entire discussion.
Right.
What do these mummies mean?
Right. Where do we go from here?
What is their place
in
the grand scheme of things?
Are we dealing with extraterrestrials?
Right.
Ancient hybrids?
Yeah.
A hidden branch of human evolution? Or something else entirely?
Well, it's interesting that Urdapilleta, with his own experiences in the realm of the paranormal, offers a unique perspective.
Okay.
He suggests that these mummies might not necessarily be extraterrestrial, but could represent an unknown intelligent species native to Earth, dwelling in underground cities.
Whoa, like a whole civilization living beneath our feet.
It sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
Right.
But the more we learn about the Nazca mummies, the more it seems like science fiction might not be so far-fetched after all.
And remember those Huacaros who discovered the mummies?
Yeah.
They talked about finding them in underground chambers and tunnels?
Right.
Could that be evidence of a vast network of subterranean spaces?
It's possible.
Even like entire cities.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
It is, but it also raises the question, if these beings are terrestrial, why haven't we encountered them before?
That's a great question.
Why are they only now coming to light?
Perhaps they've always been here, coexisting in these hidden spaces, only occasionally interacting with the surface world.
Right.
Or maybe something has changed, some shift in the environment, or perhaps even human activity that has brought them closer to our realm.
Yeah, it's like we're standing on the edge of a paradigm shift.
It seems that way.
Where the very foundations of our understanding of life on Earth are being shaken.
Yeah, and then there's the Peruvian government's reaction to all of this.
Right.
They've dismissed the mummies as fakes.
Yeah.
Prosecuted the Huacaros for stealing cultural artifacts and generally tried to sweep the whole thing under the rug.
It makes you wonder what they're trying to hide.
The government's response is certainly intriguing.
It is.
Their attempts to suppress information and control the narrative.
Right.
Only add fuel to the fire, right?
Yeah. Fueling
speculation and conspiracy theories.
Right.
It's almost as if they're afraid of what these mummies might reveal.
It definitely feels that way.
Yeah.
But despite their efforts, the truth is out there.
It is.
The Nazca mummies exist.
They do.
They've been studied by scientists.
Right.
And they challenge everything we thought we knew about the world.
They do, and that's what makes this whole story so captivating, It's a reminder that we still have so much to learn about our planet.
Yeah.
About the history of life, about the very nature of reality itself.
It's humbling, isn't it?
It is.
To think that we might be sharing this world.
Yeah.
With other intelligent beings, beings who have managed to remain hidden for centuries,
right?
Perhaps even millennia.
It is, and it's a call to action, a call to explore, to investigate, to push the boundaries of our knowledge and understanding. Who knows what other wonders might be waiting to be discovered right here on Earth.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what else is out there, right?
It really does.
Just waiting to be discovered.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got these incredible scientific findings, stories about glowing blue eyes in hidden chambers and whispers of government cover-ups. It's a lot to take in.
It is, and that's precisely why we need to approach this with a balance of open-mindedness and critical thinking. We can't just jump to conclusions.
Right.
But we also can't just dismiss the evidence.
Yeah.
No matter how strange it might seem.
Absolutely. So putting it all together, what do you think is the most likely explanation? Well, we're talking about aliens, an unknown branch of human evolution, something else entirely?
Well, it's important to remember that, we're dealing with limited information.
Sure.
We have these mummies, we have these scientific reports, we have these firsthand accounts.
Yeah.
But we're still missing a lot of pieces of the puzzle.
True, but we do have Urdapilleta's theory.
Right.
The idea that these beings might not be extraterrestrial, but rather an intelligent species native to Earth.
Right, living in these underground cities.
Yeah.
And it's a theory that shouldn't be dismissed out of hand.
Right.
Think about it.
Yeah.
We know so little about the deep ocean, about vast cave systems. Yeah.
About the very depths of our planet.
Right.
It's entirely possible that other forms of life could have evolved and thrived in these environments, completely hidden from view.
Yeah. it's fascinating to think about.
It is.
And it would certainly explain why we haven't encountered these beings before.
Right.
They've been living right under our noses, so to speak.
Exactly.
But we've been too busy looking up at the stars to notice what's beneath our feet.
And perhaps there's something about our current time,
Mm-hmm.
about the state of the world that has led to their emergence.
Right.
Maybe it's climate change, environmental degradation,
right,
or even something we haven't even considered yet.
Yeah, it's like we're at a crossroads.
It seems that way.
A point in history where the veil between our world and theirs is becoming thinner.
And those fake mummies
right.
that were planted among the real ones,
right.
the ones that might be ancient.
Created by the Inca to document their encounters with these beings.
Right.
They add another layer of intrigue to the whole thing.
They do. It suggests that knowledge of these beings, of their existence, has been suppressed or hidden.
Right.
For a very long time.
And that brings us back to the Peruvian government's actions, right?
Right.
Their attempts to silence the huacaros, to dismiss the scientific findings, to control the narrative. It all points to a deliberate effort to keep this information from getting out.
It's almost like they're afraid of what might happen if the truth is revealed.
Perhaps, but that fear, that desire for control often comes from a place of ignorance, It's only by confronting the unknown, by embracing new discoveries that we can truly evolve as a species.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
So for you listening, what do you make of all of this? Do you think these mummies are evidence of extraterrestrial life? A lost civilization, a hidden branch of human evolution, or something else entirely?
There are no easy answers.
Right.
But that's the beauty of it, The Nazca mummies present us with a profound mystery.
Yeah.
One that challenges our assumptions and pushes us to expand our understanding of the world.
They are a reminder that the universe is full of wonders.
It is.
And that there is still so much left to discover.
So much.
So keep an open mind, keep asking questions, and never stop exploring.
That's right.
Who knows what you might find just beneath the surface?